All right, we're back with another BuffZone video, and I'm with Jake Schwanitz of DNVR. And Jake, appreciate you being here.
Of course, man. It's great to be here with you. Great working alongside you and getting to know you the last year, man.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And we're here. You see City Hall in the background. We're in the town of Frederick, where I'm from.
Yep.
Jake came up to my neck of the woods today to have some Georgia Boys barbecue right next door. And he was talking on one of the shows about, you and Ryan were talking about there isn't good barbecue in Colorado. And I said, wait a minute, there's a place up here. So I love it. I think it's great barbecue. You've had it now. Give your honest opinion. Is there good barbecue in Colorado?
There is some good barbecue in Colorado. You have to put some effort in to find it for sure. Maybe know someone like you who's been here a while. But if you do your homework and are willing to try a few places, it's definitely out there.
Yeah. So I haven't had Shador's number 2. How would Shador's number 2 taste on this stuff?
Shador's number 2, I'm not lying, it's the best barbecue sauce I've had. I love spicy stuff, and it's got a little kick to it, but it's a sweet molassesy barbecue sauce. It goes great on everything, honestly. Yeah. I just love putting it on chicken. I think it'd go great here. They got a lot of great sauces here, but they could use some Shador's for sure.
Awesome. We're not even sponsored by that, but maybe we should be after that. But this is kind of collaboration summer for me. I've done so much stuff with Adam over the years, but then this summer, I did a video with Nikki Edwards from Rivals, Neely, of course, Darius Sanders earlier this week, and now it's your turn. So we'll collaborate a little bit here and talk some buffs. And I know you got your own show. We do my own thing here, but let's talk a little bit about the buffs. And it looks like this roster is pretty much set. I mean, there might be a couple more additions before we get to fall camp, but this roster is pretty much set, right? What are your impressions of this roster?
Honestly, I'm pretty impressed just with how Coach was able to recruit the South, bring in players from the SEC, ACC, and just all over the country, really. And you're seeing that in the recruiting moving forward in the 24 class. Brandon Davis-Swain from Michigan. Yeah. It's national. And, a lot of people, you heard it all before Coach Prime got here. How do you recruit at CU? And he's immediately proven those doubts wrong just with what he's been able to do. But the talent is obviously up, too. I'm very intrigued by a lot of guys making a jump in level, guys from Jackson State, guys coming from JUCO. But it's an experiment, of course, too. So I'm very intrigued on multiple aspects of just how it's all going to work.
Yeah, I'm intrigued because we don't really know how good this talent is, right? I mean, there's what I love about this team and also question about this team at the same time. This doesn't make me a hater, but is like how good are these guys? Because there's so many players on this team that have not really proven it yet, right? Whether it's they played at a lower level or they were backups at the Power 5 level. And they're guys that are intriguing. Savell Smalls, Jaquez Robinson, right. Demoy Kennedy. There's all these names that we're excited about, but we haven't seen them a whole lot yet. And so I love the talent level, but I don't really know how good it is yet.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm intrigued by a lot of those guys. Jaquez, you mentioned. Demoy Kennedy. A lot of guys coming back from injury, too, who haven't played in a few years. Travis J. Alton McCaskill even. He had a great freshman season at Houston, but it's been a long time since he's played some football. How does he look now at another guy playing at an elevated level? So there's questions that are going to be answered. I think we'll have more as the season goes through, of course, but there's going to be plenty of pleasant surprises, I think.
Yeah, and I know you met a few players this last week at the it was the Bus for Life run,
NIL event,
right? NIL event. I was actually around several of the players this week when I met with Darius Sanders. I got a chance to chat with a few of them. So let's talk about our impressions there, because I was telling you a couple of things real quick. First off, Travis J is a big dude at safety. Yes, when I first saw him, he has long hair, and so I couldn't see the J on his back. They were working out, and I didn't know who he was. And I thought that was probably an edge rusher or something. And then I saw he kind of moved his head, and I saw Jay. I'm like, whoa, that's a safety. And so that one first jumped out at me. Kofi Taylor Barracks, he was doing some lifting when I was there. I'm like, dude, that kid is big. Yeah. That's an inside linebacker that's big. Chance Main, who was here, looks fantastic. He's a bigger guy than last year, and looks like, he's going to help this team. I'd be surprised if he does not. And so, there's guys like that really jumped out at me when I was there. Jaquez Robinson, is a big, tall defensive back that is going to play all over the place. So a lot of these guys really impressed me. What were some of your thoughts?
Same thing, just the size of the team. We heard a lot throughout spring, and it may be because they were wearing the Halo helmets and all the baggy jerseys. They look small. Yeah. I could tell you for sure this team is not small, because you mentioned Travis J. Another guy who stood to me is a Marion Cooper. When you see him out there at DB, that's a big DB. Yeah. And he's going toe-to-toe with Javon Anthony, and Javon Anthony's a big guy himself too, but Marion Cooper does not look small next to him. You mentioned Travis J. Alton McCaskill, another guy who's really just chiseled down. Dylan Edwards even too. I know he's a smaller guy, but man, like meeting him, seeing him in the flesh, this is a guy I think that's ready for Power 5 football. Marion Miller is another guy I'd throw out there. When you watch him on Well Off and Reach the People, that is a big 18-year-old guy.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you mentioned Dylan Edwards because he was there yesterday when I met with Darius, and my impressions of Dylan were, dude, this kid's put together for a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little guy, but he's pretty put together. And talking to him a little bit, he's mature too. I mean, I think this kid's ready. I mean, he's not going to be fazed by what's going on here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to enroll early, and forego all that stuff your senior year of high school. I know he went back to graduate, went back for prom and all that, but it just shows a level of maturity, and I think that's what a lot of what Coach Prime and the staff are looking for is maturity. They want a player-led team. They want that NFL kind of archetype for this roster, and Dylan, I think, fits that bill for sure. As you mentioned, very mature guy, very smart guy, it seems. I love talking to him. He was great to meet the other day as well. I'm excited for him. I think he's going to have a big year.
So I don't know about you, but for me, I have a hard time making predictions on this team because there's just so many guys that we haven't seen. And so I am excited about the roster and the direction, but I still am skeptical whether this is a bowl team and whether this is going to be – I don't think it's going to be a great team. I think it's going to be a much better team than last year, but it may not show up into like 7-8 wins. I think, it's still maybe a 4 to 6 type of win team, but like those losses are going to be more competitive and – like Dion has said, you're going to know when you've played Colorado. I think that's going to be true. I don't know how many wins they're going to get, but I think the direction that this program is going is certainly up.
Exactly, and I think that's been one of the more interesting things of this process is, of course, you have a lot of CU fans who have been here for a long time, been through the hard days, but all these Prime fans coming in are used to what he's been doing, just winning literally right away and putting these rosters together just almost seamlessly with all these new players. So I'm about that same mark, 5-6 wins, pushing for bowl eligibility. I do think, you look at teams like USC, obviously they have Caleb coming back and a lot of wide receivers, but you look at that defense and it's hard to not imagine them competing at least maybe for a half or so, toe for toe, maybe potentially the whole game. So I think we're in line for maybe an upset or two throughout the season, but there's some teams on this schedule. It's a tough schedule, man. So 4 to 6 wins, I think, is reasonable.
So we mentioned several players that we've kind of gotten a chance to meet recently, but let's talk about 2 or 3 players that we're most excited to see. And we talked before this. We can't say Shador, we can't say Travis because those are obvious guys. Everybody's looking forward to seeing those 2 guys. So give me 2 or 3 guys that you're looking forward to seeing this year.
I already mentioned it, but Alton McCaskill, just coming back from that ACL tear, he was a bell cow at Houston. And when he came in as a freshman, he wasn't the starter. But it was after the first game when they realized, okay, this guy's got to start at running back, and he carried the load throughout that 2021 season. I'm intrigued to see how he comes back from injury, if he's going to be that kind of bell cow this year for CU, because the running back room is really deep. They brought in Syvion Wilkerson as well. We already talked about Dylan Edwards. Anthony Hankerson, I think, will play a role too. So if Alton McCaskill is that bell cow or even just that feature back, interested to see how he fits into this Pac-12.
Anybody else?
I already mentioned Omarion Miller, and I think that he's a real breakout candidate as a true freshman. I mean, 6'2", 200 pounds at 18 years old. It was only last year we saw Jordan Tyson as kind of the star player as a true freshman for the Buffs. And it's a loaded wide receiver room, so there's going to be – the competition is definitely up there this year compared to last year. But you watch him on tape, man, and I remember first time I watched him, I thought he was Travis Hunter because of how big he was and the way he just attacks the football in the air. So it wouldn't surprise me if he carves out a role this year as well.
So offensively, I'm looking forward to seeing Willie Gaines. There's a lot of receivers we're talking about, but Willie Gaines is a guy that just got here from Jackson State. He knows Shador. He's that little slot receiver, and I think he's going to be a really nice complement to some of these big receivers we're talking about, and a Travis Hunter that you slip him in the slot, and I don't think he's going to catch 40, 50 passes, but he's going to, if he catches 18 to 25, I think they're going to be impactful 18 to 25 catches.
Oh, absolutely. He's a big play threat. We saw it last year at JSU, and that's one of the archetypes of this receiving corps is speed. You have guys like Jalen Ellis, Jimmy Horn, and there's so many. Tarvaris Dawson's another one. you have so many of these fast guys. I think it's about keeping up the minimum speed on offense. You're able to rotate these guys a lot, tire out those DBs, just running 9 routes, subbing a new wide receiver in. But Willie Gaines, you mentioned the chemistry. I do think that that's going to play a factor this year.
So those are all offensive guys we mentioned, but defensively, there's several guys that I'm looking forward to seeing. And Chance Main's one, who I mentioned that I'm excited to see what he does in this defense. But I'm a linebacker guy, and I'm excited to see Levanta Bentley, Demoy Kennedy. I want to see what those guys look like. Those two guys to me, if they're as good as what we're hearing, like that's a really solid inside linebacker duo.
Yeah, and it solidifies your defense. Obviously, they're built outside in, not only just in the secondary, but on the defensive line too. It seems like those edge guys are going to kind of carry them. So I'll throw out Derek McClendon as a guy coming in from Florida State. Was pretty productive there. Now he's in the Pac-12. I would assume he starts as opposite side of Jordan Dominic, and he's really, he's only got here a few weeks ago, but if you watch the videos that are out there, he's joking around. He's already fitting in with the team, kind of becoming a leader of sorts. Yeah. So I'm intrigued to see how he fits in. Actually,
he was one of the guys I got to meet, and he is definitely that. You hear Derek McClendon a lot, and he is around. When somebody's lifting, doing something, he's going to be right there cheering him on or joking with him. So, this is a guy that he's very much – I think he's going to be a team leader, or he's going to be a big voice on this team, something like that. So one other guy I want to throw out, Jaquez Robinson is a guy that I'm really excited about. Coming from Alabama, he can play some corner, play some safety. He's playing a bunch of nickel right now too. I'm excited about him.
Yeah, he's going to be fun. The whole secondary, you could throw Cormani in there, of course. How is this true freshman impact this year? For me in the secondary, though, I'm going to go to the safety side. And how they're going to balance, because they are very deep there, too, how they're going to balance, 2 safety looks, 3 safety looks, if you have a safety dropping down at nickel, maybe in the box, too. Because you have guys like Cam Silman Craig, Trevor Woods, even Shiloh Sanders, who are not afraid to lay the wood and get their head in the tackle. So we'll see exactly what goes on with that safeties, but I'm really intrigued to see how Charles Kelly, how versatile he makes them and who carves out that role in the nickel this year.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let's go with the game we're most looking forward to seeing. And we also said on this one we can't say Nebraska because that's obvious. Everybody's looking forward to the Nebraska game. What's a game you're most looking forward to?
I'm going to go at home against USC. I think that's going to be one of the real first tests for this team. Of course, the first 4 games before that are as well. But if you want to be the best in the pack, got to beat the best in the pack. And I think that there will be an opportunity to kind of keep up with them. We saw it last year, although it was a little bit different. But I think that's the real measuring stick of how far this team has come. If you're able to actually push USC, Oregon's another one too. That's a hostile environment. So I'm really looking forward to the big games this year against the top teams in the pack.
Yeah. I'm going to go different. I'm excited for those games too. I'm excited for CSU to come to campus. I'm one. A lot of Buff fans don't like it. I love the Rocky Mountain Showdown. I'm glad it's back. I'm glad it's back on campus for the first time since I think 2009 in Boulder. I've never seen this game in Boulder, so I'm excited for that one on campus to get the Ram fans here. Not a lot of them, but the Buff fans going against the Ram fans. I think that one's going to be super exciting. 8 p.m. on an ESPN game, and then the other one I'll say is I'm looking forward to Oregon State coming here because I think that's one of those games to me that could be pivotal to whether you're a bowl team or not. And because you get them here. So I think that's going to be huge. And Oregon State's got a good football team. And so I'm looking forward to that one as well.
Yeah, Oregon State was really impressive to me. I'd throw them in that mix as well. I think that's a huge one. I believe that's also homecoming for CU. So we'll see if they're up for that match and if DJU is able to kind of take this team to the next level. Because we saw them last year. They were very talented on the outside, very fast. They have a stable of backs too. They're very disciplined on defense. But now if you have that quarterback that can kind of push them up there with USC, I know they beat Oregon last year, but, get up to that status. I'm very intrigued by them, and I think the Buffs have a shot against some of these teams at home, just given the atmosphere. And now you have homecoming, too, for that game. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah. Well, a lot of interesting games, a lot of interesting players on this team. I know you're talking about all of this a lot at DNVR. I am at BuffZone as well. It was nice to collaborate with you and get some barbecue today. So, have fun the rest of the summer. We'll see you pretty soon.
You too, man. I appreciate it. Good to talk to you about the Buffs always. So let's do it again.
Awesome. Sounds good.